Amish mindset. Hi guys, this is Allison from AllyKatkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate it, and it helps the algorithms and all the fun AI bullshit that happens in the Netherlands of Alice. And if you would like to support my work, my move, feeding me, helping me out, if you get a mic drop, an epiphany, a connected dot, a new author to read, a new book that you want to discover for yourself, please consider supporting me. It is in the drop box below. And I do want to thank everybody for reaching out. Two things before I begin. I got a strike last week that I'm hoping I can start uploading this video tomorrow. Fun times. And also, what I'm noticing is that a lot of comments and things have been hidden for me. It doesn't pop up when I'm looking, and then all of a sudden today, I'm like, oh, let me go look to see, because obviously I can't do anything on my channel. So I do apologize for that. But if you ever are interested in donating to me and you want to do it in another type of way, please contact me via email, and that's, private. I do appreciate everybody who has donated and have kept me alive, literally, figuratively, and mentally for the last almost year. It's not been easy. I'm still waiting on a closing date. I still have not gotten that information yet. Stressful. Beyond words. Yeah. Oahspe. So we're going to read the book of Sue, son of Jehovah, being the second cycle after the flood. Now, this book also has the Lord's second book. There's my dyslexia, by the way. Being contemporaneous with the book of Sue, son of Jehovah. As the latter is chiefly of the angels in heaven, so is the Lord's book of man on earth. So normally I would read the first chapter of each and break it down different. This time I'm going to read the Lord's second book first. Then I'll go into the actual book from Oahspe. It's short. It's not that long. And then I'll read the rest. I hope that works for you. If it does, leave it in the comments. Again, I do apologize for that. Sometimes when you're over the mark and you're thinking and perceiving and just pulling things out for what they are, they kind of like suppress a lot from you, which then in turn, it makes me look like I'm not reading or acknowledging people's amazing comments. Or the other people on other platforms that I upload my videos to call me Satanist, and I'm the evil devil. If you're going to make a judgment on me, look straight in the mirror and ask yourself, where do you come from and who spawned you here? And if you have a soul, you're a part of God. Maybe judge yourself first before you look at other people and make those judgment calls for yourself. Yeah, and I'm used to that. Doesn't really bother me, but I delete those comments because I don't need those low vibes on my channel. Any one of them. The Lord's second book. Chapter 1. God said, I, the Lord, for my predecessors and successors, and for myself, declared these things unto mortals. The chosen of God, being called Ihins, because they were the fruit of both heaven and earth, were taken into all the earth in the protection of God. Into earth, Agartha. His lords and angels, for the fulfillment of man on earth, for the glory of the Almighty. And I, the Lord, a one-time mortal, with my holy angels, who had sprung from the earth in former times, walked with man to keep him upright in the way he should go. By command of God, the angels watched over men, teaching men oftentimes unknowingly to himself in all good works and industry. By constant changes of watch did the angels relieve one another daily, weekly, and monthly. And in no time did the angels leave the Ihins alone and without the light of heaven. And whithersoever the Ihins went, they went the angels, and the angels often took on Sagris, and were seen by man even daily, and man talked with them face to face. And the angels told man what was good for him, showing him the way of righteousness. And men depended on the Lord and his angels for all things helpful to understanding. Now, when the earth was inhabited in many places, and there were thousands of cities, villages, and the Lord said unto man, Behold, thou hast made the earth the joy of the Lord, and now I give it into thy keeping. How sayest thou? And man answered, It is well, I can keep the earth, and I shall rejoice thereon, because it is the gift of God. The Lord said, If I stay with thee day and night forever, thou wilt not put forth thine own power and judgment. Man said, Go thy way, O Lord. Then the Lord withdrew a while, taking his angels with him. Now in the days there were ground people dwelling in the wilderness, who had not the light of heaven in them, neither could they be made to understand. As one may discourse to an ox, and it heedeth not, so was speech to the people of darkness. Nevertheless, in winter, when food was scarce, the ground people came to the cities of the Ihins, beseeching for food. And the Ihins, remembering the commandments of God, went out unto them, treating them to everything good to eat. Now behold, the chosen were tempted by the people of the darkness. And it came to pass that a new race was born on earth, and they were called Ihins, after the manner of the ancient warriors that destroyed the chosen before the flood. These Ihins were copper-colored and were capable of speech. Pause. Inference. Perception, my opinion right now, inserting it here. This is where I see this book wrong. Even the negative, even Satan, is of God. You don't want to believe that, and that's fine, but still, fallen angels of God. Why? Because we live in duality. What is the copper color race? If you do your research, it's the people that are of pigmentation of melanin. They're not evil. They hold the most power of Earth. This is where I disagree with this book. Big time. The indigenous people of Earth is copper colored. Now there's differentiations between those copper color races, like the Native Americans, the Indians of India, the Arabs, the Africans, the West Indians, Native Americans in the indigenous parts of South America. Those are all considered the copper colored races, by the way. in my opinion. So here again, even if I don't care how this is channeled or not, is a white man's oppression over another race. And this time, it's not even color. It's angelics and people claiming to be what we want to consider what God is, judging. I don't like it. Back to the book. When God beheld what had happened, he called to the Ahins, saying, O ye that could dispense with the Lord, give I not unto you the mark of the circumcision as a limit to the line of my chosen? Hear me now in my prophecy, the Ahun shall be taught the name of Jehovah, the great spirit, and the plains of heaven and earth. And the Ahun shall inhabit the whole earth in time to come, and he shall have to do dominion over everything on earth, even in the waters of earth. And in time to come, the Ahin race shall disappear from the earth. Thou shalt not be found on my footstool. The Ahins inquired of the Lord when these things should come to pass. The Lord said, according to the cycles, some 21,000 years. The Lord said, from this time forth, the Ahins shall not mingle with any other people on the face of the earth. This is my commandment. And whosoever violateth my word shall be cast out of my cities and go and dwell with the barbarians. Inasmuch as the Ahuns are your heirs and are capable of everlasting life, ye shall be unto them the light of my kingdoms, teaching them peace, righteousness, and mercy. But ye shall in no case suffer them to enter your cities and abide therein. Neither shall ye raise a hand to do them harm. But if they come upon you in multitudes to take your stores, then shall ye depart out of the city, leaving the Ahuns to take the goods and food for themselves. For ye shall be as an example of non-resistance for the sake of establishing the love of God in them. Chapter 3. God foresaw that the Ahuns should be separated from the Druks, otherwise Yaks, would again be born into the world. And he said unto the Ahins, behold, the Ahuns cannot hear the voice of the Lord. Therefore, go ye unto them, saying, thus saith the Lord, if ye mingle with the Druks, your seed shall not inherit everlasting life, but go down into darkness. And the Ahins went and told the Ahuns the words of God. Nevertheless, many of the Ahuns broke the commandment, and indeed the Yaks were again born into the world. The Ahins said to one another, are not these like those of the legends of old, who are made eunuchs and servants? The Ahuns inquired the meaning, and when they were told, they made a law unto themselves, making eunuchs and servants, and both Yaks and the ground people, wherever they came upon them. The Ahins feared for the judgment of God, and they called out to him for a remedy. But God answered them, saying, because of the enmity betwixt these two races, behold, they will not marry. Suffer ye the Ahuns to do in their own way. For of what profit it is to bring forth heirs that cannot inherit my exalted heavens? Because the tribes of darkness cannot be made to understand. Behold, their souls go out of being as a lamp that is burnt out. So it came to pass that the Ahuns made eunuchs of the tribes of darkness of both sexes, did they thus, and they made slaves of them also. The Lord said, the Ahuns shall have laws of their own. Let my chosen go unto them and make laws for them, saying, thus saith the Lord, the Ahuns shall be guardians over the Ahins. the sacred people, and through the Ihins will I bless the Ihuns and make them mighty. Since it is not lawful for the Ihins to kill beast, nor bird, nor serpent, behold, their cities and mounds are invaded by all manner of evil beasts and serpents. The Ihuns shall slay all such evil beasts and serpents, and they shall guard around about the cities and mounds where they abide my chosen. Servants shall the ground people and the yaks be unto the Ihuns, and the later shall cast their servants, that they shall not multiply on the earth. Hear ye then the law of God betwixt the Ihuns one another. Whoso doth an injury to his neighbor, or to a stranger, the same shall be done unto him. Whoso taketh from another, an equivalent shall be rendered twofold. Those killeth a man or woman or child shall be put to death. Whoso marrieth his sister or mother, or his half-sister or half-mother, they shall also suffer death together. Whoso oppresseth another shall be cast out of the tribe of his people. He that blasphemeth the Great Spirit shall be put to death. He that disrespecteth not the time of woman shall be put to death. The fields I have given to the Ihins, but the forests and wilderness have I, the Lord, given unto the Ihuns. And it was so. The Ihuns began to be carnivorous, but the Ihins ate neither flesh nor fish. Chapter 3. In all the great divisions of earth, these things were not, nor had one division of the earth much preference over the other. But in the regions of summer weather, where the earth brought forth abundantly, the Ihuns and ground people dwelt mostly numerously. Though the Ihins dwelt in both the warm and the cold countries, for there clothed themselves and built habitations, but the Ihuns were only a covering about their loins, neither but built their own inhabitations, and they roved about and around far and near. But the ground people traveled not. They mingled with their own kin, bringing forth heirs of darkness. The Ihuns learned the laws and obeyed them, and they looked up upon the Ihuns as a secret people, doing them no harm. And it came to pass that the Ihuns were a very prolific people, 4 times more prolific than the Ihins, or the ground people. And they spread rapidly over the earth, in all the regions where the earth brought forth fruit and roots, and flesh and fish. They were good to eat. For 2,000 years, the Ihuns prospered, and they became mighty in many countries. But in course of time, they began to war upon one another. And for hundreds of years, they descended lower and lower in darkness. And they obeyed no longer the commandments of God, but they mingled with the ground people, bringing forth heirs of darkness. I don't know, the more I'm reading, I mean, I've glanced a lot through this book, and I've read a lot of this book so far. And they went out of order for a reason. Truth will be told one day. The truth of it all will be told, or we'll know it in our internal selves. But that's why there's so much division on this earth. And when we learn that we're all one and the same, and we can unite together as a humanity of one race, one species, we're human, we're of earth, or the plane of existence that you are inhabiting with other people, doesn't matter what you look like. And yes, there is polarized positive and negative people, but we're intermingled for a reason, because that's free will choice. And it's up to you to decide where on the spectrum you choose to fall under, but you're still of God. Now to the actual Before I get into that, there are going to be a lot of words I cannot pronounce properly. So I do apologize. I try my best, but it's not perfect, and it is what it is. Jehovah spake in the gardens of Atahavia, precinct of Su, Orion chief in the Etherian firmament, saying, Su, my son, what of the red star, the far off earth? Behold, her harvests are bright. She is become barren in imparting immortal souls to my unending realms. Su heard the voice, and he said, In thy name, O Jehovih, will I summon my gods of Hoit and Isarkara. Swift messengers departed, and Su, quick perceiving God of two worlds in the Etherian Semar, foresaw the importance of the coming red star. He said this, with my gods of Hoit and Iskandara, Isarka, who will come in swift speed, shall be the second deliverance. Then came Li Wing, god of Hoit, and presently Savian, goddess of Isarka, and they stood before Jehovah's throne. Su said, Jehovah had spoken. Behold, the red star bringeth forth nor sons nor daughters, more to Jehovah's realms. She is weak, unstrung, and out of tune, cometh this way. And I said, In thy power and wisdom, O Jehovah, will I visit the red star. 6 years I will stand on her soil and course her heaven, and such potency give to her confused gods and lords, as will make 1,000 million sing for joy. To accompany me, I have called you. Behold, I have charts and maps of her heaven and her corporal parts, and a history of her as yet young adventurers in the field of worlds. Then spake Li Wing and Savian, saying, To do Jehovah's will and thine. Behold, we are come to thee. Give us to fulfill whatever so thou wilt. To swift messenger Su said, Ye have heard, go proclaim throughout my Etherian worlds my will, and summon up from Ithavivius 100 million skilled volunteers. When the red star shall cross the wing of Isakara, we shall go forth in power and land on her troubled parts in a sea of golden light. Chapter 2. In the Iska of Portan, of the Etherian worlds and division of Hoit and Izaraka, flew the call of the gods for volunteers then, which a more welcome sound is not heard in high heaven, to do Jehovah's will. And with the voice and call, there rose up hosts from every quarter and from every subdivision, till the complement stood ready for the great work. And yet so vast were the fields and arcs of Zaraka, that the 100 million chosen were as a fraction compared to those left uncalled. Coming near the throne of Su in Oit, the 100 millions formed in squares and stars, and the chosen God took his place to the head and front, looking to the low horizon where rose the red star, the sick earth. And now the builders who had measured the elements laying in the route toward the earth formed their crescent ship of fire and equipped it, and with mantles and curtains and banners created it a vessel of beauty and ornament as well as service. Hardly was the ship completed when Jehovah's light encompassed it about on all sides, so that which was beautiful before now illuminated and sparkling and bright as the sun, and rich in golden colors, for of such kind was the eth of the heavens where hereabout created. When Su entered the ship, the voice of Jehovah came, saying, Another cycle came and is gone on the earth and her heaven, but still they fall to the barrenness ere the succeeding dawn. Go now, O Su, my son, and a wider range give to the T-tracks of both angels and mortals. Give a greater scope to tyrants, kings, and queens on earth, and greater to the self-gods and self-lords in Hada, and more responsibly. Then all hands entered the Etherian ship, singing and rejoicing, observed by countless millions, come to wish them a haven of joy on their 6 years' visit to the corporeal earth. Su said, in thy name, O Jehovah, by virtue of thy power in me vested, my hosts shall forth at my command. Cut loose, ye gods, and thou, O ship of heaven, born to the red star, the earth be gone. And Su stretched forth his hands and waved them, and lo, the mighty ship of heaven turned on its axis, cutting loose from the high firmament, and it turned, with its great curtains and banners sailing gracefully and swiftly through the blue ether. The music of her ensuers swelled and rolled along on the spheres of many worlds unseen to mortals, where dwell countless millions of spectators viewing the marvelous speed and power and brilliant colors of the great ship. Faster and faster she sped on, till nearing Shavat, which now cut sharp in the fields of forests of Zakara, over which was potent the name of Su, the companion god and chiefest friend of F, Orion, chief son of Jehovih. When the ship came to the bridge and halted to take in the plain of the whirling earth, Su said, O light, all light, ye gods, and at once as high as the moon and bright as the sun, the illuminated ship stood in overawe the self-gods and warrior kings and murderers of the earth-born, whose plentiful souls in chaos polluted heaven. For 3 days and nights, Su held her starship to the wonderful task of mastering by the marvelous scene, and then slowly he entered the vortex of the earth, but held his course, nor with the earth in her heaven, for he desired that both Corporeans and Atmospherians should witness the coming power. So slowly he came, but 50,000 miles a day, that when the ship neared the disorganized horde, the self-gods and self-lords fled and left their well-supplied kingdoms desolated, and down to the earth rushed in thousands, and their hosts in millions, to hide or safely stow themselves from Angie's just hate. But the true God and Lord stood firm in their depleted kingdoms, fearing not, but in faith that this Etherian ship was Jehovah's answer to their long cry for help for the heavenly spheres. And by their pillars of fire still standing, great Su knew where to land in the lower heaven for the safe anchorage. So to Horde he came slowly, and toward the throne of God. And when he neared the place, his ensuers chanted and trumpeters played the sound which music came to the ears of God and his hosts, and they were the hymns of more than 1,000 years ago. And God and his hosts sent up rockets and displayed 3 primary colors, the sign of Jehovah's name, and God's ensuers joined in chanting with the hosts above. Presently the ship of fire was at the place of landing, and Su, Jehovah's son, cast out a ladder and descended with the hosts. The 100 million angels led by Gusitivi, Marshalless of the throne of Su in Zaraka. Su said, Hail, O God of heaven and earth, in Jehovah's name. I am come in power and wisdom. And God answered, Glory to be thee, O Jehovah, that thy son hath come up so far to bless thy bewildered kingdom. Then they saluted with the signs of the 6th resurrection, whereupon God said, In the name of the great Spirit, come thou and honor my throne. So Su went forward, and they greeted by shaking hands, and Su ascended and sat on the throne, saying, Keep thy place, O God, for I am not come to displace thee, or thy host of Jehovah, but to build up his glory. His seated therefore, for I feel the light of the Father descending on my head. Presently all the light enveloped Su, and the Father's voice spake, through him, saying, Hear the words of thy Creator, my son, and rejoice because I have not forgotten thee and thy people. Behold, this is the hour of thy redemption from the trials of Tetrax, which are run abroad in my dominions. Was it not worse than this in the olden time? And I came with my hosts and delivered them. I created man in darkness and gave to him no judgment, that the creation of his own thoughts might be for his own glory forever. But instead of beautifying his thoughts, he hearketh it to Tetrax and cloth himself in clouds. The heaven I built for him, he diggeth to pieces, then buildeth his own, but only to be displeased and turbulent. Neither will he content himself with providing with his own hands, but search out my most dutiful sons and daughters, making slaves of them for his own expiation. Behold, I have aforetime sent my sons and daughters to search out these traitors and self-gods, declaring unto them that only by forsaking evil and practicing righteousness could they obtain to my exalted kingdoms. Their evil places have I cast down and built in honor and glory, that their own judgment might determine that virtue and good works are the sure foundation for happiness that will endure forever. But when I have raised them up in one cycle and made the lower heaven a paradise, alas, my Ethereans have been gone away for a little while, when the Tetacs take root and grow and turn all things upside down. But now will I build them up in a new way. Yeah, I will appropriate the evil of their inventions to their own good in a way they dream not of. The false gods and false lords shall be arrested and brought before this judgment seat, and I will judge them by their own behavior and desires. Neither will I torment them nor abridge their happiness. Send therefore, my son, thy marshals into the hidden places of these gods and lords, and say to them, Thus saith the host of heaven, Come, my son, and inherit a kingdom in Hada in thy own way, for lo, there is room for all, but thou art not left behind. Come quickly to Hord. And they will come, hoping to embellish themselves in the old manner, but my light shall come in due time in my own way. The voice ceased, but Su spake of his own account, saying, What Jehovih hath ordered do ye. So marshals and priests were sent into all directions and atmosphere to gather in the false gods, false lords, who had deserted their dominions in fear of the light of Su's Etherean ship. And after many days the false ones were brought to Hord, and there were of them 7,000 lords and gods. Now then were they before Su, Jehovih's son, and arranged so that all could hear and see, even the whole council beside. The light gathered around about the throne, and Su addressed them, saying, Hear me, O men and women, I have sent for you, and ye are here. In this I am pleased. Know then that what I speak shall be in love and tenderness. Ye have deserted Jehovih's kingdoms, and it must be because it pleased you better than to remain. Is this not true? And ye also deserted your own false kingdoms. For a little while they consulted together, and they answered, saying, Nay, it pleased us not to desert our own kingdoms, but we were afraid. Su said, Who think ye I am? They answered, A god from some far-off world. But where it lieth, we know not. We desire to know who thou art. Su said, I am but a man. Fear me not. But since ye feared and so deserted your kingdoms, does it not prove that ye are not the all-highest? And do ye not perceive that because ye had no all-highest, ye were divided and inharmonious? Hear then that which I say, and consider my words. I want not your kingdoms nor anything ye have, but the harmony may reign in heaven. I will give every one of you more than ye had, and power unto you also. Since ye behold, I come to Hord, the throne of the ancients, perceive not that whosoever accordeth with me is of power also. Take then your kingdoms and be gods and goddesses as ye assumed before, and I will anoint ye and make ye as part and parcel of one united whole. Again they counseled together and then answered, why shall we take our kingdoms? Our slaves have deserted us, our kingdoms are pillaged, and all their value. Yeah, our slaves have become wandering spirits, and are returned to earth and are making their habitations with mortals, so that the people of earth are aroused because of miracles and wonders occurring on earth. Zeus said, what can ye say to these wandering spirits that will induce them to come up away from mortals? To which they answered, we promised them provider and clothes and plenty of rest. They will come, but when we put them to labor, they will run away, having taste of liberty. Zeus said, how then made ye slaves of them in the first place? To which they answered, we took them in the day their mortal bodies died, and they never saw nor knew any other place in heaven. So we appropriated them to our services dutifully. Zeus said, know then, this is my conclusion. First, that ye shall be made as sub-gods to one confederacy, and your kingdom shall be fair to look upon and well supplied with all things needful. Behold, there are on earth with the barbarians hosts of familiars and fetals. Whoever then of you will go down to the earth and bring them away to Horrid shall have them for slaves. And whoever bringeth the greatest number to him will I award you the greatest kingdom. And if it be that ye can find emissaries to work for you in bringing fetals and familiars away from the barbarians, then shall such labor be accounted to your credit. And ye shall station around and about the corporeal cities certain angels whose labors shall be to receive newborn spirits on birth blankets, and bring them to your kingdoms also, for they shall be your slaves. After the manner spake Su, and the false gods and goddesses were highly pleased, and they divided themselves into certain districts over mortals for the lower heaven. And they are at once sent off to labor in their own way, and they were named sub-gods. Su said, these sub-gods have much weight with the barbarians, because they advise them in war. But behold, it shall come to pass, when the sub-gods have robbed the barbarians of their familiar spirits, the Ahin priests will have a greater weight with them. And the sub-gods will desire to find favor in my sight, and so teach their slaves, the which will cause them to emancipate themselves in time to come. Chapter 3. Jehovih spake through Su, saying, mine is a strong government and everlasting. Hearken to the wisdom of your Creator. My sons and daughters, wherein have I not given liberty to all people? He that doeth all right, therein he is not free. He that doeth a wrong, wherein hath he liberty? Whoever endureth to surpass himself, have I not shown him his limit? I created man at 0, but for him to add unto himself forever. Liberty I gave to add only that perfecteth his own soul. Therefore, if he eat poison, it taketh from him his body, which I gave. Herein made I a boundary, both on earth and in heaven, which is to say, inasmuch a man accumuleth virtue, wisdom, patience, love, truth, and pure words, he is free, because in so doing, he followeth me in my works. But he that seeketh to glorify himself in his possessions blindeth himself, because he is unlike me, for I gave all and thus made the universe. Though I do agree with that, that's the Amish mindset. 2 states, therefore, I created open to all men, both on earth and in atmosphere, which are liberty and bondage. And man I made to choose that which he will, but that he might not err, behold, I send my emancipated angels to explain these things beforehand. Even so are governments ordained by my holy ones. wherein my judgment whether a government be of me or against me. For if it gave liberty to all righteous works, and for the promotion of knowledge, providing teachers to the extent of the demand, it is of me. But if the government maketh of itself a self, for which it aggrandizement is at the expense of my children's liberty, then it is against me. What we're facing right now, by the way. For I have not created a people to be today as were their forefathers, but provided them with the perpetual growth in wisdom and virtue. Wherefore the rising generation shall rebel against that which was well and good for their forefathers. All my governments understand this, whether on earth or in heaven. Whatever government accepteth not this rule shall go down to destruction. For as I have hedged men about with sentinels, such as pestilence, poverty, and hunger, in order to awaken him to knowledge and industry, so I have hedged in all governments under the sun with sentinels, such as rebellion and assassinations and war and bankruptcy. As pestilence proveth man's disobedience to my commandments, so do rebellion and anarchy prove the disobedience of governments to the progressive spirit with which I created man. The self-God saith, I will make a strong government by armies and cruel masters, will I bind the subjects in my dominions, and he draweth up a multitude of laws, and heapeth up books to explain the laws, and findeth judges to explain the books that explain the laws, and he saith, behold how wise I am. Behold the great wisdom of my judges. Behold the great learning of my books. Behold my most perfect laws. Behold my armies that stand behind all and in great power. But lo, a star appeareth in heaven, and all his fabric goeth as a spider's web. For instead of choosing his creator, who was strong, he erected things that were as nothing. Hear thy creator, O my God. For thou, my son, I bequeath a new light to the lower heaven. For as thou hast portioned to his self gods, to take kingdoms, suffer them to the hedge themselves about with a multitude of laws. But thou thyself shalt have no laws, save the rites of ceremonies, which thou shalt adore with music and processions. And it shall come to pass that the dominions of the self gods will prosper for a season, and they will, for sake of self-glory, deplete the earth, people of familiar spirits and feudals. But in time after, their subjects will tire of the laws of the self-gods, and hearing that they have no laws, self-rites, and ceremonies, they will come to the horde of their own accord. True. Happening now. Henceforth, then, shalt thou convert the nurseries and hospitals and factories and places of education into places of delight and recreation. The voice ceased, but Sue said, behold, the time cometh in all the atmospherian heavens when the discipline of former days must give way to something new. And such a time is now in this kingdom. It may be likened to a young child that hath been laid by the hand for a long time, but now hath become strong of limb, so as to walk alone. For this purpose have the earth been brought through the fields of Izaraka, and most hosts are come with music and wisdom. Hear then my decree, O God of earth, and thou shalt be the most blessed of gods. Send thy messengers into all parts of Atmospheria, proclaiming a recreation of 10 days of music and dancing and marching, with pageantry and feasting, to be in horde in the first of the moon of Jaeth. The rest leave to the Father, for he will provide us in the time thereof. And while this time is coming, I will go around the earth with my hosts in my Ethereal ship. God said, I perceive thy wisdom, O Jehovih, in thy decrees. Am I raised up with new wisdom and power? Oh, that I could devise a way for them before they fell so low. Su called the council and his own hosts from labor to recreation for 1 day. And the people mingled together, rejoicing, for the Ethereans with the hosts of Su were many who had been earthbound and born many thousands of years before. Their assurance of the emancipated heavens above had greater weight with the atmospherians than anything that others could say. Then Su and his hosts visited the earth and her heavens, and after returned again to Horde. I'm going to leave it there. Interesting. There's a lot of things I agree with this book, but there's a lot of things I disagree with this book. But that's up to me, not you, right? So if you perceive something different, that's wonderful. It's opening perception and conversation. So you're all welcome to comment in the section below. I know a lot of people love this book. I love it the same. I just see some things that I don't agree with what I get from upstairs of the light, by the way. So sending each and every one of you love and light. I hope you all have a wonderful upcoming weekend. Please be safe, be seen. And again, all the information will be linked down below, how to get to me and how to help me out. And it's all appreciated. I really do thank you from the bottom of my heart. See you on the next one. Bye, guys.